Hello, and welcome to our podcast of Wraith the Oblivion. This is a variant story that accompanies Dirge of the Maniacal, a full chronicle that takes place in the world of darkness. I am your storyteller tonight, Myles von Kamp, and with me is Jay, who will be playing as Zion the Masquer, a free wraith, at least at this point in time. Good evening.
Howdy.
Our sidewinding adventure takes place on November 21st, 1994, in Portland, Oregon. Unfortunately for our brave wraith who is about to awaken from her slumber, she is not aware of the date or time in which she is awakening herself. For it has been over 16 hours since she has laid to rest in the tether that was offered to her. And now, coming through into this musky and darkness-laden haunt that was meant as an invitation to her, she will smell the dust and mildew, and she will notice the cobwebs and dirt and mold that is kind of growing in this room, and the floating particles in front of her. It takes a few seconds for her vision to adjust to the room itself, but then she is easily familiar with the various objects and devices and pieces of memorabilia all about this room that were used as tethers by herself and also her fellow circle as well. She can feel the creaking floorboards underneath her feet as she walks in the Shadowlands. There is the sound of something rumbling and noisy and boisterous going on a few rooms away from her to the north. It sounds like raucous, but in order for you to discover exactly what's going on, you may have to leave this room and do a little bit of exploration of this haunt to really find out what is happening. So, with that in mind, what would Zion like to do at this point in time?
Well, I imagine I'm feeling pretty good after sleeping for several hours, so stretch and
Absolutely.
look around, and I'm assuming that I don't see any of my circle.
No, there doesn't appear to be any other wraith inside this room with you. You kind of get the feeling that either you woke up too early or you woke up too late. But then you start to remember some of the injuries that your circle had taken when you were venturing the nether. And it kind of makes sense to you that they would probably need a little bit more time to mend their wounds.
Well, mostly just making sure that I'm not leaving somebody behind. But, if I can't see them, they're probably safe for now. So I'll just make sure I make a note of where this room is so I can find it again and meander my way towards the sound of the rumbles.
Okay. They seem to be coming at this moment. You can hear it through the walls up here in the northeast. But the only door available to you is right here. And unfortunately for you, the door is shut in the Skinlands, which means you will need to spend 1 point of corpus to go through this door that is shut to you in the mortal realm. Do you wish to spend 1 point of corpus to just walk through the door?
Oh, well, may as well. I'm full health, full corpus right now, so I can take that one hit. I I can take another
Done
nap
deal.
later.
That's true. It's been marked on your character sheet at this point in time. And then your eyes take a moment to adjust to the darkness of the hallway. And now that you've kind of come out and explored a little bit more of this hallway that is meant to be in pitch darkness, but thankfully your wraith senses are, quite keen at this moment. A lot of the noise and the ruckus appears to be coming from the north down this hallway. And along with that, you will also hear the footsteps of somebody walking down those floorboards in the Shadowlands as well. So at this point in time, I need you to roll a perception and a alertness. So I believe that is 8d10s and exploding 10s.
I'm being lazy because I don't remember the proper format, but let's see. Oh, hey. Roll 3d10 because, wow. Right. What's the difficulty level?
It's a 6.
Oh, well, then I did just fine.
All right. So with 5 successes, as you are going down the hallway towards the footsteps leading to the noisy activities that are happening in that general direction, you will see the back of Archibald appear wearing his long coat, and you can see the tools that he always wears with him, kind of like draping to the sides. He's got a bit of a kind of stutter with his walk, as if he's already inebriated at this point in time. I'm going to reveal his picture to you so you can get a reminder of what he looks like. Just kind of, pulling his weight to the left and the right, but then, opening the door in front of him. He doesn't seem to really notice you at all. Walking behind him, and you'll see him kind of like go through into the next area, kind of like disappearing into the darkness itself. Do you wish to follow him?
Yes, please.
All right. And do you wish to say anything to him, or do you want to kind of keep things on the down low for now?
I'm assuming he probably knows I'm there, so I'm just going to keep following him.
Okay. So, as you enter the next area, you are easily entering a very, very noisy and, like I described earlier, boisterous and loud and just hectic scene of what appears to be individuals enjoying themselves. They seem to be a little, maybe
raucous,
pushy and over the top. But what strikes as interesting to you most of all is that on the other side of this table that's in front of you is a mixture of the living and the dead. The living seem to be sitting at the bars, enjoying their drinks, getting their usuals, watching their television for the, sports that are going on at this time. However, inside this tavern portion of the haunt that you are exploring, there are quite a lot of individuals that have distinguishing features to them. But unfortunately, you need to go a little bit further in order to see those kind of details. You'll see Archibald is still meandering his way over to the tavern, still stumbling back and forth. And then he starts to make his way to the north. At which point, when you're standing, still a good distance behind him, but, making yourself part of the white noise that's occurring, I need you to roll your perception and awareness this time. So that'll be 7d10s with exploding 10s, just like last time.
Okay.
How'd you do?
Well, I get to explode 3d10s, so.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Well, I think I did very well. So
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. -1 is another 5 successes.
And you get to explode that last 10 as well.
Oh, I did.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Oh, I guess I got another one.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you the area. If it will allow me. Yes, it will. So you will basically get a perfect view of what's going on in this area.
There it is.
Yeah, there you go. That I'm activating right now. Like your Wraith senses have gone further than than they were meant to in this particular scene, especially since it's so noisy and such a ruckus going on in this tavern. You were able to hone in and get a sense of like what's going on around you, and that includes what's happening on the other side of this door right here, which seems to have individuals on that side too, strangely enough.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Mm-hmm. So if you ever want to exit, you'll at least know that there's 1 or 2 or possibly 3 figures standing outside the exit of the haunt. But more interestingly, now that your vision has kind of taken in the entire room, you're looking at all these individuals inside the tavern, and something kind of jumps out at you about every one of these individuals, and that is the insignia on their clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them is wearing the mark of mystery. The mark of mystery, which comes with this particular region's citadel, or the legion that rules this area. So now I need you to please roll a little bit of... It's going to be your wits and investigation. So that'll be 8d10s. No exploding 10s this time, but at least you get to roll 8 dice.
Ooh, well, I hope that was a difficulty level 6.
It was.
Oh, good. I still have 3 successes then.
Excellent. So every single individual, as you are like looking at their clothing and their armor and their decor, is marked by the Pauper Legion. They have the mark of the Pauper, which means that they are all legionnaires. They are all part of the hierarchy in this entire tavern, and it is surrounded by them. And a couple things kind of jump out at you as you allow this setting to kind of become what it is right now. One is that Archibald will make his way over to one of the bar settings over here and start having a conversation with the bartender, who is obviously a wraith. But 2 other individuals catch your eye as well. Just slightly to the north and a little bit to the west, you will see an individual sitting at this table who's very familiar to you. You typically remember seeing her when she's not wearing her armor or her helmets, and it's easy to distinguish her from any other wraith. But right now she is wearing her very profound and unique armor that you recognize immediately. This is, in fact, one of your contacts. And then the other thing that your Wraith eyes will notice is a little bit more to the west is an individual sitting over at the table and the bars, having a conversation with some of the other wraiths that are sitting there, and also looking very peculiar and out of place. This individual is your mentor.
Oh.
She is the one who has taught you a majority of the masking techniques that you have learned up to this point. So a lot of the Moliate skills that you have harnessed came from her. And right now she just seems to be enjoying herself. And, she's got a glass in front of her and she's raising it up every now and then. Looks like she's trying to start conversations. But the Wraiths that are nearby her are kind of like leaning away from her as if she's the oddball in the bar and they don't want to give her direct eye contact. So at this point in time, Zion has 3 different options. She can address Archibald, over at his table that he has just claimed. You can address your contact, who I have mentioned sitting at the table by herself, or you can address your mentor, who is sitting and trying to make some type of performance of herself, like kind of like showing off or trying to tell stories that would interest others. So, what would Zion like to do at this moment in time?
Well, Archibald's going to be around for a while, but I don't know about the other 2. I wonder if it would, see, what my gut instinct is to, what I would do in real life is go up to Archibald and be like, hey, I see a couple of people I know, but I want to talk to you later. And then proceed to go off into the other 2.
All right. Do you want to do that?
You know what? I will go ahead and do that. I'll just meander over and be like, hi, I want to talk to you later, but I see a couple people I want to talk to first. You going to be here for a while?
Okay. He will look over to you and just kind of like, he's wearing his death mask right now, but he'll just kind of like lean forward a little bit to kind of like get a better sight of who you are. And he'll then lean back a little bit and go like, oh yeah, you're the you're the girl who came in at the last second. And I got to be your leader for a temporary amount of time.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Enjoy your drink, buddy. I'll be back later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hopefully, I'll be here too. It depends on how the night goes, really.
Alrighty. And I'll just go ahead and hop on over to my contact person because you know what? She's closest. And also the other one looks like everybody else is giving her the stink eye, so I want to hit up the one that nobody's, obviously averse to first.
Okay. So your contact will look to you, and she'll kind of nod with her helmet still on in your direction. Do you remember your contact's name?
Let's see. I was thinking there were a couple of them.
There are.
Actually, there was like 3 of them, weren't there?
There was.
Contacts. Yeah, 3 dots in contacts.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'd asked to talk to the occult one. So I'm wondering if it's that one, but I bet it's in my email somewhere.
You can also roll a basic knowledge roll if you want to. So that's your intelligence. So 3d10s, and you'll know immediately who she is.
All right. I'm gonna watch me fail this roll. It'll be great.
Fantastic.
3d10. Hey, well, it's not a full watch, but I still don't know anything.
Okay. You know that she is your contact. Yes, indeed. It's kind of awkward, but it's like, maybe if she took off her helmet, you'd have a better idea, but she does not look like she is comfortable doing that right now.
Gotcha. Let's see. You know what? Give me 1 second here. That's not what I was looking for. Also not what I was looking for. Well, apparently, if you sent it to me in my email, Oh, hey, I think I might have just found it. Aha, I did. I'm gonna friggin' star this because I already starred this because past me is awesome and present me just can't remember anything, apparently.
And if you want a shortcut, you can always
Mhm.
click on Zion Inventory / Influence, and it'll give you a quick rundown of the names of your contacts.
Really? Wait, where's the inventory?
Yeah. So, do you see where it says Zion the Masquer?
Mm-hmm.
You can click
Oh, there
on
it
that.
is.
Yep. And that'll give you a list of your influences if you scroll all the way to the bottom.
Ah, there we go. Okay. So it's probably wow, I will butcher her name, but it looked like Sirath, the Oracle.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you want to give that a try?
Yeah. I'll be like,
Okay.
hey, Sirath, right?
She will kind of you'll see her shoulders kind of like droop down for a little bit, and she's like, "No, that's not my name."
I am so sorry. I am not great with faces, and I have about a third of a face to work with.
Mm-hmm. It's all right. It's been a while since we were able to address one another.
It has been.
Hmm. I trust that your escapades have been well so far in Portland, Oregon.
They have actually. Perhaps a bit riskier than anticipated, but well, I came out of it with a couple things to show for it, and my life, which is actually more impressive than it sounds.
Okay. What have you learned thus far?
Hmm. Well, let's see. Uh, sorry, IRLJ has just had a mental 404 brain not
No,
found.
that's okay. No worries.
I learned how to rip down walls using Moliate. That was fun.
Oh, nice. I don't think I've learned how to do that trick quite yet. But I've been told by guild members that there is a way to undo that as well.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to talk to a masker, though. That's not my forte.
Mm. That is completely reasonable.
What brings you
I
here today?
well, if I am remembering correctly, you at least have something to do with the occult. Am I just completely wrong about that as well?
I don't specialize in the occult whatsoever, but I do. Well, I do bring good tidings for the hierarchy currently.
Ah,
As you can see, and she kind of like gestures her hands and arms to the fact that every single person in this tavern happens to be a hierarchy member.
oh, that's right. You literally said that. Oh no, you didn't, because I wrote down Mark of Mystery and Mark of Pauper Legion. And I didn't actually know that was part of hierarchy, and you probably said it, and my brain just decided that was a useless piece of information and flushed it.
No worries. We're all legionnaires here, after all.
All right, so Alvarez.
Hey, your memory's coming back to you.
Yes, like I said, my name. Wow, my face is also terrible. My mind is not so great with names and faces, but eventually I put the pieces together.
Hmm.
Right,
She
so,
will, as she is sitting there, kind of, you can tell that she's kind of like chuckling a little bit, you know, the turn of events and what has happened so far. Doesn't seem like, as far as you can tell, beyond her helmet, she doesn't seem offended. But it's like you said before, it's really hard to tell with only a third of a person in front of you. But something does happen that helps you, well, not just jog your memory, but reminds you a little bit of this contact distinguishably. The bartender will walk up and put down what seems to be a glass of Spanish wine. So it's like a Spanish red Rioja wine. And she will nod at the bartender, and he will leave very graciously. And when this wine, quote unquote, because it's not wine, is presented to her, she will, in fact, take her helmet off at this moment. And you should be able to see the note that I put on Roll20 for you. And she'll lay her helmet on the table, and she'll look to you with sincerity and say, I think your face is the least of your problems right now, if I'm being perfectly honest. And she takes a good sip of her drink that's in front of her so that, she can enjoy her beverage. But yeah, seeing her face, you're like, oh yeah. Ooh.
I now
That's
understand.
why she probably wears a helmet. That's probably why she wears a helmet most of the time.
I will pretend that I'll pretend that's not affecting me and be like, oh, well, perhaps the reason that I was confusing with you with the cult is because the items that I bring you to, what's the word? To appraise are often occult in matter. So that could be it. Regardless, it is good to see you again. And,
yes.
Come to think of it, I do have some new items that you might be interested in viewing.
I'll take a look.
Let's see. I think I'm going to keep my bag of sand and my little tiny insect to myself just for now, and start with the stuff I don't actually care about.
Okay.
The prayer beads of condemnation.
All right. I'm taking a look at that right now. She will examine this artifact very, very carefully. And as if she's trying to kind of like get an idea of its use and purpose. And I'm just making sure I have the lore for this. Oh, yes, I do. She will actually hold it in front of her and say, this is something I may want to purchase from you, actually. This is definitely up my alley. Would you like to know what it does before you sell it to me?
You know what? I don't have a lot of emotional ties to it, so go ahead and tell me what it is. I'm very inclined to sell it to you since I have other things that I care more about.
Well, my dear, this is what we call, well, what specters call, especially, a Arcanos implant. I'm going to put that in the chat for you to read so that you know what I'm talking about. 1 second.
Yep.
It is an Arcanos implant. Specters use these to entangle and add and sew onto their bodies so that they can imitate the powers of wraiths. Specters can't do the traditional Arcanos that we can. So they use these items, these artifacts, to basically infuse themselves with such powers. Unfortunately, it does not give them the knowledge or the retrospect of many, many levels of lore and understanding and performance in such Arcanos, but it does give them a singular talent. And that singular talent for this particular implant that you brought me, if I had to measure it, and she kind of like lifts her glove, the gauntlet that she's wearing, and she says, I'd say this is about 4 levels of power to a specter. And like I said, this object has a special interest towards myself.
Oh, you know what? I am still embarrassed that I couldn't recall your name, so I'm hoping you will forgive me by accepting this for a lesser price than it would go for to other people.
Certainly, I can do just that. We'll call this. We'll call it a flight of slight.
Alrighty then.
I will give you 20 obli for this object.
Sold.
GM needs to make a note. All right. She will then pocket the beads into her belongings and say, wow, started off very strong, Zion. I'm impressed that you were able to find something like this. Bear in mind, and this is free knowledge for you, since you seem to be stumbling upon these types of contraptions. Any wraith can infuse these objects onto their body if they wish, and gain the powers that I have mentioned before earlier. So even though specters use these to imitate us, we can use them to imitate other Arcanos users if we don't feel that the discipline is necessary. Does that make sense?
It does.
Good. Is there anything else you'd like to present to me?
Well, there are several things that I've got, but one I am not inclined to let go of. So forgive me for denying any request to buy it.
No, not at all.
And then I will...
Doors falling open.
No, that's just Jess talking.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's okay. So I will just kind of try not to be suspicious, but also definitely be discreet about pulling out my tiny little bizarre insect contraption.
Oh. Very interesting. She'll look at you.
It's been very helpful.
Yeah, she'll look at you very coyly and say, that is a Stygian artifact that you have there. That comes straight from the heart of the Empire itself. Those artifacts are not meant to be outside of Stygia itself. I will turn the blind eye to this because such things do not really interest me at all. But I can tell you from a Legionnaire's point of view, that thing is worth, I would say close to 1,000 oboli if you ever decide to sell it.
Holy shit. So noted. If I ever absolutely need the money, I will come to you first.
Of course.
And there is one other thing. I'm not sure how well this will take, or how well everybody around me will take this. So I'll also try to be discreet. But there's a difficulty level associated with being discreet and bringing out a frickin' shield.
Yeah.
It's not a weapon, but
No, I get it. I'm gonna need you to roll your dexterity and your stealth. So that'll be 8d10 exploding 10s.
Oh, good thing, because I got a 1. Give me 2 seconds. Roll 2d10. Now, what's my difficulty level?
The standard 6.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minus at least 1. Does the exploded 10s count as botch as well?
It does not. So that would be 5 successes.
Good. Yes.
Yeah. You were able to reveal the shield to a good, just minimum amount of attention and notice from the legionnaires that are stationed around you, having a good time, and every now and then, glimpsing over in your direction to see what they can spot, or maybe listen in on your conversations with their senses. And Alvarez will look down at your shield and say, "Oh, yes, well, that right there is going to be very useful to you, especially someone like you, if I remember you correctly. You need to learn how to use that as soon as possible. In fact, it will assist you very well. Unfortunately, I am not up for teaching at this moment. I'm always up for talking, but I am not a teacher."
Understood. Oh,
Were you looking for like a value to that and some kind of appraisal?
You know what? It won't hurt to have that knowledge, I don't think. So, if you don't mind.
Okay. No, not at all. Outside of the hierarchy, you'd be able to sell that for about 20 oboli. Inside the hierarchy, you should get at least close to 190 oboli.
Oh, well, that is also good to know. So, if I ever decide to upgrade to something better, I will keep you in mind for this one.
But if you try to give it to the renegades, well, they'll probably just take it from you and kill you.
Ah, well, okay. I will note that to myself. Not renegades.
No renegades. And she just smiles and... Oh, no worries. And she just nods her head and says, "You have to understand that right now we are in a state of I would say surface level war that is taking place. All of these legionnaires that you see before you are here because we have just conquered and taken the Citadel and have now occupied the entirety of Portland, Oregon. So if you decide to take a step outside of this haunt, and I know it's a haunt, and she just kind of like gives you this look of like, I'm not stupid. If you take a step out of this haunt, you will most likely be addressed by legionnaires, sentries, people patrolling the streets. And there are pluses and minuses to this. The minuses are if you are not registered with your your local or appointed hierarchy, which I'm guessing yours is here, if you are not a registered legionnaire, well, you're going to get arrested. And you're going to be dragged away in chains straight to the Citadel to be measured and appointed.
Oh, fabulous.
Right?
Question to the GM. Do I know, am I registered as a Legionnaire at all?
You are not. You were a free Wraith.
I didn't think so.
Nope. You were a free Wraith.
Just checking.
You were given the choice, but you're like, I'm not going to do that. So Alvarez will look to you and kind of like, with a very coy look in her eyes, just kind of like indicate, now that this place has been overtaken by the hierarchy, you need to step and tread very carefully from this point onward. Not every legionnaire is like myself.
Understood. And it would probably be not a great idea to ask her if there was any way to fake being Legionnaire just for a while, so I'm going to not.
Okay, so you don't say that out loud.
Yeah, no. I was thinking out loud, sorry.
I'm just going to tell you as a GM, that would be a very wise decision.
Understood.
So she will finish her drink and she will put her helmet back on and say, was there anything else or are we conclude here?
No, I think that will be all for today, but thank you so much.
Oh, by the way, and she'll kind of like, outstretch her gauntlet towards you as if like, hey, by the way, this is important. She will reach into her satchel that is by her side and she will pull out 2 pictures. They seem to be like drawings because there are no cameras or photography in the Shadowlands. They appear to be drawings and sketches of 2 individuals. Very detailed and very, very elaborate. As you're staring at these sketches, your mind immediately recognizes who these 2 sketches are. One of them is Edith, the Oracle in your group, who also does fatalism, same to yourself. The other sketch easily resembles Gabriella, I believe she is a Shantor. And Alvarez will point her gauntlet down at these 2 sketches and say, I'm looking for these 2 individuals. They need to be taken in and registered. Speaking of chains. If you come across these 2, could you report them to me at once? One of us has unfinished business, but I'd be willing to take both of them in. If you agree to these terms, I will pay you handsomely.
Well, it is a big wide world out there. May I consider it?
Of course you can. That's one of the joys of your profession is that you have a choice. And they do not. So, let me just let you know. If you come across, and she points at the picture of Edith, the Oracle. If you come across this young lady right here, Edith is not a young lady by far. Just points down to the pictures and says, if you come across this young lady in your travels, tell her that Alvarez is still looking for her. And she hasn't got far to go.
Okay. Well, I don't mind passing messages. So I will do that much at the very least. But I will still consider your other offer.
Fantastic. I knew I could count on you.
All right. And then I will do my best to slide my shield back into where it's hidden and kind of meander my way, not directly to this. There we go. Not directly to her, but just kind of wandering and seeing the sights and moving away from people.
Sure.
Slapping around, and then eventually land next to her and maybe don't make direct eye contact, but kind of do that whole lift the glass, say hi, and proceed to have a half, not directly, but you know what I'm talking about, kind of a half sneaky conversation.
So when you do this, you will notice that, you know, and as a GM, I will declare that Alvarez will declare fair escape. She has left the building and has walked out and is gone. This current character in front of you, however, will kind of lean into her beverage and go, "Oh, hey, I was just thinking about you."
Oh dear, where are you?
What a stroke of fate. Yes, I was just going over some of the older texts that have led me down this wonderful journey of mine, and she kind of like leans over to the person on her right, and he's just like, and moves a little bit further away from her. You can't tell if she did that intentionally or not, but as she sees him, like, you know, depart from her side, she's like, anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I was just thinking about you. We have so much to catch up on. Have you seen this place? My goodness, it's just erupting with worker ants, isn't it? When she says this, the other Legionnaires will give her like a very wry look in their expressions, but she's just like, I'm just joking with you. You guys are more of what are those ants that are more like, you know, the fighter ants or army ants? yeah, you know what I'm talking about. By the way, half of her drink is like on the table. It hasn't even entered her system at this point.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
She's in a special state, isn't she?
Maybe. So what can I do for you? Zion, it's been forever and I want to catch up. I just have so much to tell you, but I want to hear from you first. What have you been up to?
Oh, well, I got hired to go and help some fellas out, and on the way, I learned how to use my Moliet to tear down walls, and that was pretty neat.
Oh, you know, I never really thought of utilizing it that way, but I like that. I'm going to borrow that. I will call it a Zion if I have to. There has to be a clever way of putting it, like a Zion effect, or the Zion.
Call it the Jericho effect.
The what? The Jericho
effect. Yeah.
That's not really your name, but you know, whatever. If you want to give the credit to a structure that didn't last very long because of instruments of music, that's fine. I like that.
Oh, well, I feel like in the current climate, it might not be a great idea for me to have a particularly noticeable name. And if you're going to be naming something after me, that might make my name a little bit more noticeable, you know?
Tell me about it. All these soldiers and officers are so boring. And again, all the Legionnaires kind of give her this look of like, what is wrong with her? And some of them will actually move away from her even more to like just avoid her demeanor. And she'll kind of like lean back to you and say like, I totally know what you mean right now. And you know what? Some of us ex-guild members just need to fit in somewhere. and I figured you'd be around here somewhere, and here I am. And here you are. Taking missions and taking names. Any special names that I should know about?
Well, there's that filthy drunk guy over there in the corner. You see him over there? Gonna point in his direction.
Yeah. The drunken crow. And she'll like cup her hands around her mouth and be like, "Hey, Archie!" And you'll see Archibald kind of like fall over a little bit on his stool and look over and be like, "I told you never to call me that name. Not in public, at least." And he just kind of like leans his death mask onto the table and just kind of like holds his head together as if it's like melting apart. And she's like, "Yeah, great guy, horrible leader. Would not ask him to lead a single circle or group if my life depended on it. But great guy otherwise. Why? What about him?"
Fun story. He did actually get to be the leader, and my life is still here somehow, so he mustn't be that bad.
She'll kind of like lean towards you a little bit as if trying to whisper, and she's like, "I gotta be honest with you. I think the more drunk he gets, the more clarity he gets on specific thoughts." And you look over to Archibald again to get a glimpse of him, and again he's just like slumped over. So,
"Hey, Archibald, has the Balmer peak hit yet?"
And you just see you see his hand raise up and then droop down again. And the bartender walks over and he's just like, "You know what to do." And the bartender's like, yes, sir, I do know what to do, unfortunately. And goes and leaves to get him another pint of something. In the meanwhile, your mentor will look to you and say, "Anyway, there's so much to share with you, so much to teach you, but what are you interested in? Where are you getting at nowadays? What do you need to know?"
Well, I was just speaking to a contact just a couple minutes ago, and when I mentioned that I figured out how to tear down walls with Moliet, she mentioned there was a way to reverse that with Moliet.
There is. I'm so glad you brought that up. I don't know why I didn't think about teaching you that first. You would think you would teach someone, how to put a Band-Aid on before using the scalpel, but anyway. Yeah, we should probably discuss that as well. And she kind of like thinks about it for a little while. And she'll look over and just examine all the other legionnaires that are around her. Just kind of like trying to get a sense of who's around and what is, appropriate in this setting in particular. And she'll kind of like again lean close to you again one more time and say, "So do you got a moment?"
I think I do.
Sounds good. And
I'm gonna grab Archibald and get out of here.
I don't want to go anywhere near him, actually.
Alrighty then.
And she starts to make her way out to one of the exits, and as she does so, you don't need to worry about any loss of corpus or anything like that, but you do make your way out and phase through any boundaries that are there. The individual who is standing in front of you places his hand on his sword very firmly, and looks at you guys with a very discerning look and says, "Can I see some identification, please?" And your mentor will lean forward, touch his nose with her finger. Just a very slight boop action from her and say, "Fuck off." And he will look at her and go, "Oh, yes, ma'am, sorry." And we'll run down the stairs, talk to his other guards that are standing there as well, and they will actually depart, as if pretty much scared of what just transpired. You don't know what she did, but you do know that she affected his corpus in a way that was very discomforting for him in that brief moment, to solidify some type of authority over him.
Excellent.
Yes.
I would really like to know what trick you just did.
I'm sure you would. But that's not what we're here for. And she goes into one of the corners of the bar. I'm sorry, the inn/tavern. And she looks to you and says, "So, you know how to calcify and affect structures and cause them to separate and break apart, and by hardening your plasm with your touch, you can fossilize your own plasm, you can make it resistant, you can create basically a very, very durable amount of whatever it is that you need to accomplish your goal." So, see this wall right here?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to show me what you showed the other wraiths in the circle, because I'm kind of curious myself.
Oh shit! I've only got one pathos back.
Yeah.
I want. If I think about the success and remembering my contact's name, would that let me roll for success for pathos, perhaps?
It is possible. Is this under your
Victorious?
victorious?
I remembered finally.
Mm-hmm. So difficulty will be at an 8, but you may roll for it if you wish. So that'll be 40
right.
40 10s, difficulty 8.
All right. Well, I got 1, but there is a 1. Does that count?
It unfortunately does not. It is a botch. So no successes, but you are able to, at this point in time, just kind of go, well, you know what? I've got 1 pathos left, and I can use calcify in front of her. So that'll do.
All right.
If I, whatever.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I will use my last pathos and hope I am victorious in that, because
yeah.
So, rolling molliate, right?
Strength plus molliate, and difficulty will be at a 6.
Okay, so 8d10.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, at least no botches.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. You will spend your pathos at this point in time to calcify your hands into the wall. Can you describe what Zion is doing when she uses this power against the wall?
Well, calcify, I'm just telling it that it wants to be circular towards me, so it kind of bends against itself and then, curls back like when you scrape a knife against chocolate. It's like, shoop. It wants to go away from the wall. It's calcifying, but in a circular, and just pulling it back.
Got it. When you do this, you are able to rend and pull apart and use the entropy around such matter to kind of secrete this opening and this crevice into the wall itself using your hands and your fingers. You do feel that last pathos drip away from you, but you definitely are able to present this, as it were, to your mentor. Your mentor is very impressed by this, by the way. She's like, wow. Calcify is usually used on a more defensive parameter and more selfishly to protect ourselves and look differently than we appear to be, but you have definitely taken that a step further and really utilized something that I taught you on a basic level. So let me show you how to fix that.
All right. And while she does that, can I roll for victorious?
Yes. So difficulty will go up to a 9 because you are using You're using the same passion. So unfortunately, you will not get a botch on your passion roll, but you unfortunately do not get any successes either. And then the next time you try for a victorious roll, it'll be at a difficulty of 10. So
gotcha.
So she will look to you and say, I want you to do something for me. I want you to place your hand on that wall that you just rendered apart. And I want you to visualize what it would take for you to reverse it back to the way it was before. I know it's only been a few seconds ago, but I want you to just visualize what it looked like just a moment ago before you did this. So place your hand against the wall.
I'm doing it.
And visualize, use your fingers, use your touch, and cause it to go back to the way that you remember it being.
Okay. I do exactly what she says.
All right. Difficulty is your dice roll is going to be your dexterity plus moliate, difficulty standard 6. So that will be
8d10s.
8d10s, exploding 10s. And this will not cost you any pathos to cast.
Oh, good, because I don't have any. And you said standard level 6, right?
That is correct.
Well, I only got 2 then.
That's okay. With 2 successes, you are able to bring together all of the parts and pieces. It's kind of like if you had thrown a rock at a mirror and seen it shatter and spiderweb its way apart and become particles. And then suddenly you decided to hit the rewind button on the VCR and cause it to come back together again all over. And you can hear the shards and the pieces reform themselves on the spot. And the wall looks absolutely whole once again.
Neat.
Yeah. So next I need you to roll, as a part of this learning process, your intelligence and your occult. So 4d10.
All right. Oh, well. I got at least 2, possibly 3 if the difficulty is only 6.
It is a 6. All right.
Hooray.
So with 3 successes, this ability will cost you 0 experience points to learn.
Oh, nice.
So you will, without needing any experience points, will instantly learn the skill known as skin mold. It is called skin mold. It does not cost you any experience. I'm sorry. It does not cost you any pathos to use. But you know that the more destructive you use your calcify power, the higher the difficulty it will be to undo it.
Aha! So, good to know.
So if you do a damn good job to calcify something, including yourself, another individual, or the environment, if you do a really good job, you're going to have to do a really good job in return to bring it back the way it was. At a game, that means difficulty 9. So a difficulty 9 to repair something that is been changed really, really well by you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Does that mean also difficulty level 9 for people that are not me that also have Moliate?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So your mentor will look to you and say, this is especially useful because I know that if you're going to use this, you're going to want to create openings and new passages for yourself in tight situations. However, if you're able to repair it afterwards, you might be able to give yourself a good barrier between you and whatever might be following you.
All right. So, clarification. Did you say this costs 0 pathos?
Because of your... it costs 0 pathos to use, and it also costs you 0 experience points to learn because of your dice roll.
Okay, 0 pathos to use. That's more interesting to me than the 0 XP to learn because, you know, I have enough XP. I don't have any pathos.
Yeah. So when I put this on your character sheet, it will be a level 1 power. So it'll be there. As you know from, kind of like reminiscing about your contact, she has a lot of knowledge on the Moliate skills that her guild once had that is either old or recently considered fashionable or forbidden. And she holds those really, really close to her chest. And the stronger you build her as a mentor, the more she is willing to teach you. So what she just taught you is a level 1 power because calcification just happened to be the topic of choice. If you decide to level her up to a level 3 mentor in the future, she can teach you some of these skills that go up to 3. So right now she can teach you 2 and 1 skills like she did today. She taught you a level 1 skill. But if you decide to go higher than that and really reach for the more dangerous stuff, you need to build her up as a mentor. So,
got it.
But this current skill that you have earned is completely free. It will be added to your character sheet. Your mentor will look to you and say, "What do you think?"
That was really great. That was super neat. That was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. If you're going to break something apart, you should always know how to put it back together immediately afterwards. At least that's one of my mottos. Maybe from 20 years ago, I think. 25? No, 20 years ago. I'm younger than I look.
And you already look plenty young.
Oh, well, thank you. Anyway, I need to go. I've got some business to attend to, but I'm glad I was able to teach you a thing or two about what we do.
I super appreciate it. Will you be sticking around for a while?
I will not. Unfortunately, this place bores me. The people here are just droll, and they are more interested in their swords than they are their hands and the crafts and the arts that can be created with them. So I will probably be moving on. If you ever see me again, it'll probably be in California. I hear that there's some interesting things going on over there.
Well, so noted. California, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, maybe next time I see you in California, you can teach me the nose boop thing.
I might consider it.
Well, thanks anyway. I guess I'll go see if I can track down Archibald.
And she'll kind of like dance her way into the shadows to the south, leaving the haunt. As you re-enter the bar and tavern scene, You will immediately notice that Archibald appears to be missing from the table. And, your stomach kind of sinks for a moment, but then you kind of remember what you had said from the very beginning of your journey of, you know what, Archibald's not really going anywhere, and I'm sure I can see him around. So, you kind of reassure yourself that you'll probably see him again sometime soon. But obviously, he had some other things to attend to, given the time and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But at this time, Zion will take a moment to kind of meditate on everything that she has acquired at this point in time. Knowledge, the thought of being surrounded by the hierarchy that has just taken the capital all of a sudden. One of her contacts asking her to look out for two of her circle mates that she is actually pretty well acquainted with at this point, at least one of them pretty well acquainted with, which makes it even more awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just kind of perusing her thoughts on the ability to calcify and break things apart using her fingers, and then being able to remold them and repair what she has destroyed seconds ago. And with these lessons in mind, she wonders, maybe I should go back and see if any of my circle mates have awoken at this point in time, and I should probably share some of that information with them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. So as you begin to traverse the dark hallway that is before you with the limited amount of light, and make yourself back into the room that is awaiting you with many tethers, you get a sense that the journey before you is a lot more clear and more well defined than it was minutes ago, thanks to a little bit of perusing.
Definitely.
And talking. And that is where we are going to end our journey for tonight.